Hi all, it's Skip from Skip's Messy Workbench, and I'd like to do an update for you on the 1955 Chevy stake body. I made some progress on it. I laid down several different colors of rust on the body parts and frame. I put a coat of what would have been the factory color, or at least a color, on the body. And I also put a flat black on the frame on top of all that rust. I have not started sanding down to the rust to get that rust stuff shown. Although the way I sprayed it, it looks pretty rusty to begin with, but it's going to get better. I also started working on the bed and laying down, or making the modifications, I should say, to the bed that I wanted to make. I already cut strips and for the wood bed that I'm going to put on, and I'm starting to make the upright gates, the bed gates. I never know what to call those things. I should look it up and see what they actually call the side panels or the side gates for the bed on that. So I started making those also. So this is just an update, and glad you showed up. Why don't you follow me down to the shop and I'll show you where I'm at with this thing. Okay? See you down there. Hi, and welcome to the shop. And I made some progress on the 55 Chevy stake body, and what you're seeing here is the bed. There were some things on the bed that I didn't like from the box. Let me see if I can get the lighting right here to show you what I'm talking about. One of the things that I didn't like about it was let's see if I can get this lighting right here. There. You can see here there are indentations in the bed, and they're too symmetrical. Even though I'm doing an old beat up farm truck, I mean, these things are symmetrical, and what they are the mold marks from these ribs, from the support ribs down here. So I didn't like that. So I decided, and I had pretty much decided to begin with, that I was going to put a wooden bed on this truck. So what I'm doing is I made this frame out of these white strips of evergreen plastic. And let me remove these clamps, because I had the clamps on because I had just glued them not too long. Same with the tape. I'm actually not done gluing them. I only glued it in spots. But here you can see I put a new bed frame on it and just glued it down to the original frame. And to get it squared, I cut this little thing out of, this is just cardboard, and it's the type of cardboard that, I guess you might find, like if you bought a dress shirt, they sometimes put that stiffener in to keep the shirt stiff while it's packaged. But anyway, that's all this is. And I measured the outside dimensions, and I cut a rectangular hole in here, and then I just placed it on my bench and put the strips in here and then glued the corners so that I could get it square. And
it's square. The only thing I've got to do is a little bit of sanding in here just to round off these corners. But my plan is now to I'm going to have to drill holes down through here, through each one of these, and these holes are for where the side gating goes. I call it gating. I don't know what the real term is for the side gates or the side pieces, but my plan is to also put wood down, and I found in my stock here I found some wood. This is balsa wood, and I have it on tape so I don't lose it, but I'm just gonna, let me take this off of here. So I'm just going to lay the wood in here. Now it's not going to lay well because of that tape. And I purposely cut them shorter and longer to make a stagger, but also so you could see that I'm just going to lay this wood down in here. And it'll be like that, and I'm just going to glue that in. But what this allows me to do is to really weather this up good, but also I can put some grooves in it, like somebody tried to slide something heavy on it. I can just do a lot more with the balsa wood than I could with this plastic. So that's that. And the slats that I found, actually, I found these at my local hobby shop. They are they're made by they're made by this company here, this Northern Scale Lumber Company. And this was actually HO type. They're saying they're HO 3x10s. But you know, even for HO, that's not accurate. But what I did was, and I've got two sizes here because the rails, I've got two sizes here. One was the HO 3x10 and one was the HO 3x12. And I measured them so that scale-wise, it would come up to a 1x2 and a 1x3 on a 48th scale, and they're pretty close to that scale. So that's what I'm going to be doing there, and then I'm going to make my own gates, my own fencing. And the reason I'm doing that is because the gates that came with this kit, although they're nice. So here's one right here. So I mean, they're nice, they're well done, and they even have a sorry, I bumped the camera. They even have a wood grain finish on them. Let me reach over here. They even have a nice wood grain finish on them. But what I don't like about it is that every single one of them have injector pin marks. So there's here, 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 and here, and some of them are really deep. So yeah, I could have filled them and then sanded it smooth, but that would have taken the wood grain effect away. And yes, I could have painted the wood grain effect on them again, and that would have been no problem. But I decided I am going to make my own. It's pretty simple to make these things, and I'm going to make actual wooden ones. That way I can also groove them and show some of the, maybe like the knot holes opened up on them, because they're really old. And so I found some evergreen plastic that I'm going to use for the upright supports. I'm working behind my camera here. And then the same wood here, the same dimension, will make the cross members on those. And then the bottom one will be a little wider because these will be 1x2s the bottom one is a 1x3. So that's where I am on the bed. I'm coming along with that really well. I got most of the preliminary painting done. I'll just show you the chassis here. And again, I've got to do something with my lighting. But what I did, here's the chassis, and this needs to get a flat black on it yet. But I layered this because I want to really rust this up pretty bad and then dirty it. I layered this with 4 different paints, 4 different colors. So I laid down a Vallejo dark brown, the 71.042, and I didn't cover the whole thing. I just laid it down with an airbrush, and you know, again, I wasn't fussy with covering everything because I'm going to be doing a lot of like wet sanding and sanding off through different layers and stuff. And then I topped that off with another Vallejo NATO brown, 71.249. Again, not covering, I just put a mist on it. And then another layer on top of that of this tan earth, 71.079. And then one last layer of this orange brown of 70.981. So I did that on most of the parts, including the wheel hubs. Including the wheel hubs. And again, you know, I'm just laying down those different layers of rust buildup. The tires will then be in the Tamiya rubber black, but believe me, they're going to be really dirtied up big time. I didn't do the backs yet. I also did the some of the body parts. So here are the door panels and the back of the cab, the roof, and also the front bumper. And you can see that I coated it in. This is going to get a coat of what paint would have originally been on that car or on that truck, and I'm going to be using a green for that, and I think it's a Tamiya color. I'm sorry, I'm leaning over here trying to look in my stash here. But I'm planning to use a Tamiya JA, whatever JA stands for, JA Green XF13 for what the actual body would have been if it was new. But you know, again, there's going to be a lot of rust on this truck, and I'm going to try something also that I have never done on a model. And I'm doing it on this one because, to tell you the truth, I don't care if I screw this up. I'm going to try to put some dents in these things, just hopefully by just heating the plastic and maybe hitting it with something, I don't know. But I want to show some dents, and I'm definitely going to be putting some chewed out rusty areas on this. Maybe just use a Dremel with a ball mill on it just to notch out or groove out some really, you know, deep pocketed rust. So that's where I'm headed with this so far. So that's an update for now. And I guess in the next segment, I'll have more of it done. All right, so thanks for watching this, and just stick around. I'm going to be back in about a second. Well, it's going to be longer than that for me, but about a second for you. Hi, and thanks for staying with me. I know it's only been a second or two for you, but it's been 24 hours for me. So since that last clip, I cut all of the balsa wood slats that I'm going to be using for the bed, and they're just dry fitted in there. And they fit in really well. As far as I didn't have to trim any of the lengths or anything, or not the lengths, but the widths. So they all fit in there really well. And I mean, naturally, just being dry fit, they're going to get glued in. I'm going to really put some dents and grooves and really dirty that stuff up. So I did that, and it didn't take long, but you know, to get them right, it takes a little while. I then started, just as I started making the gates for the sides. Now, I made myself. I'm cutting the post, which you can see here. I actually have them already cut, and those are the upright posts. I always lose my pointer, and these are the upright posts here, and I'm making them actually a little longer than I need. I can trim them off because after I drill the holes in here, I'm going to seal off the bottom so that when you stick them in, they'll bottom out and keep them in place. Now, there are 3 different sizes of these gates. There's these wide ones, and then there's one that's a little bit more than half of the width of the first one, and then there are narrower ones. So, you know, I've got several to make. I got 4 big wide ones and 4 medium ones and 2 small narrow ones. So I started cutting the upright post, and for the upright post, I'm using evergreen 143, which is 0.04 by 0.06, which is 1 millimeter by 1.5 millimeters, and that is equivalent in 48 scale to about a 1 by 2, or 1 by 2. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember or maybe a 2 by 3. Anyway, I made myself a rudimental little jig here so that I get them all the same size. And all I did was I took one of my steel rules and taped it down, and then I have 2 marks here on this tape. One is the actual length, and I cut them a little bit longer. And all I did was I took this piece of evergreen 143, held it up against the stop, took my knife, lined it up with the line, and just boom, and cut it off. I mean, it was really, really simple to do. So that's that. And I started, and I just did one. I'm going to make myself a little jig also so that I can get things somewhat even and level, so that I can hold them at the right distance apart. And then, here it is, okay. And then I can take the wood strips and place them. I'm working at an odd angle here, and nothing is secured down. And then place them on, and the top 2 are a little bit narrower than the bottom one. Wow, I'm sorry, I hear a lawnmower outside. I don't know if you hear it, but it is extremely humid here today in Pennsylvania. I can't believe somebody's actually out there doing that. So anyway, so I'm planning to do that, and I'll make some sort of a jig so that I can get them all the same. And as I glue these slats on, I know, like, I'll put one at an angle. I'm going to probably, you know, booger up some of these things just to make it look really used. So anyway, that's, oh, and then also I put a coat of the finish color on some of the body parts. Now this is that Tamiya XF13 which is a JA green, and I've got some sanding on here to do so that I can get, you know, some of the rust colors to come through on this stuff. And I'm thinking about painting one of the doors a totally different color as if it's been replaced. We'll see about that. So that's done, and I also did the front fenders. I may leave them. I was thinking about doing one of the fenders in a different color just to show that it was, you know, replaced with something, but I might leave it as this is because it already looks like it's been rusted in places. And then the engine I did in blue, and actually this is Ford and GM blue. I'm sorry, this is Ford and GM blue. This is Model Master, and I mean, there's some other things that go on this, but that just lays in the bottom here. If you look at this groove here, there's a groove in here and a deeper pocket at this end, and that engine just goes in there. Sorry for my hands being in the way. That engine just goes in there like that and glues in place. Not a lot to it of getting that engine in place there. So we'll do that, and I did the hood. That needs some sanding yet, and I want to get some deeper rust areas. And then the frame also, I sprayed a light, very, very light coat of flat black on it. In fact, I made sure I did not cover all the areas. And I'll be doing some painting on the muffler and the tailpipe and just roughening and rusting things up really well on there also. All right, so that's where I'm at for now. And actually, I'm going to close this video out because I don't want them to get real long. And I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank all my subscribers and my guests, and I appreciate you all. I love comments if you so feel like you need to leave one. I also would appreciate if you give me that good old thumbs up and give it a like. It's really good for the algorithm, and you know what, it's good for the hobby also because it gets our videos more playtime. And you know, the hobby's growing. I take notice to that online. So let's make it even bigger. All right, so anyway, hey, that's it for now. I'll see you all in the next video. I'll have a lot more done by then. All right, bye.